Q.T.L. Quality time left. I have been teaching this concept for a decade. Q.T.L. Quality time left. And I was reminded of the source when I was reading Jimmy Johnson's book over the last couple weeks. Jimmy mentioned in it how he was hired by the great Wayne Huizenga. Wayne was the owner of the Miami Dolphins, the Florida Panthers hockey team in the NHL. He was the owner of Waste Management. He was the owner for a number of years of the old Blockbuster Video, an extremely wealthy billionaire, and by all accounts, a great, as Jimmy said, the greatest owner he ever worked for, the great late Wayne Huizenga. And Mr. Huizenga used to say to Jimmy, be working 16-hour days, 18-hour days, you know, missing family dinners, divorced, just literally putting everything on the back burner and just focusing. He had just laser focus on helping, on giving, you know, Miami their best chance to win a Super Bowl. It never happened when Jimmy was there, but Mr. Huizenga used to come into Jimmy's office and he would say, man, he says, I know how hard you grind. I know that you put football before family, before your health, before everything in your world. But he goes, you gotta remember, remember quality time left. Q.T.L, Jimmy, Q.T.L. So this reminded me of the source of Q.T.L, because like I said, I've been teaching it to my men for 10 years. And I probably first discovered it when I was reading one of Jimmy Johnson's earlier books. Nonetheless, the abbreviation comes from the great Wayne Huizenga. And it reminds me of a story I want to share this morning that really emphasizes the importance of Q.T.L. in your life and my life. It's constantly important for us to remind ourselves. I work with men 45, 55, 65, 75, middle-aged men. Most of my guys are married with children, empty nesters. A lot of my guys have grandchildren. Successful businessmen, really successful businessmen, a lot of from-scratch entrepreneurs. They've had a lot of success financially, but many of my men are struggling like every human being in one or two areas. And that's where a fella like me comes in. Maybe marketing, maybe marriage, maybe they're not building the legacy they would like. Maybe they need help with building a life of not just success, but significance, serving other people and being an elite husband, an elite father, those kind of things. So that's where a fella like yours relentless comes in. But it's so important that we always keep in mind Q.T.L, quality time left. And that reading that book was a great reminder of the reason that I share that every single morning or every single training, at least for a few minutes with my guys. And is, you know, the average male life expectancy in North America, in the United States and Canada, is 78 years. So the average man lives 78 years. Some more, some less, but that's the average. So it's easy to do the math on quality time left. And this really helps. If you do some of this badass math, it really helps hit home and send a message to yourself that time really is finite, that energy really is finite, and it really helps you Look at things in your life that are time vampires, energy vampires, whether it be toxic people, toxic activities, doing things and investing or spending time on things that just don't matter. Everything from, you know, buried in technology, on your cell phone all day, the stuff that at the end is not going to matter at all. It's not going to matter at all. And it helps us focus on the things and refocus on the activities that are going to matter. If we're going to build a legacy, if anybody's even going to remember our lives, if your grandchildren are going to know about you, are your great-grandchildren going to know about you? Are they going to even know your name? What about your great-great-grandchildren? Are they going to know that you were an entrepreneur, that you were a community leader, that you built a business? Are they going to know your story? You see, our lives are forgettable if we don't build a legacy. Our lives are forgettable if we don't build a world of significance. Success won't do it. I won't be remembered for selling insurance policies. I won't be remembered for you know, making 6 figures or 7 figures or 8 figures or any of that stuff. The only chance I have to be remembered is the legacy that I've been building through serving other people. When I shoot a video, that's legacy building. When I write a book, that's legacy building. When I write a monthly newsletter, that's significance, not just success. When I run these masterminds, that's legacy building. And the reason these things are legacy building is, number one, they serve other men. They serve other people, and that can have a down the line kind of effect. It has an effect on their children, their son, their daughter, their grandkids, their spouse. And that's where you have a chance of building a legacy, but it all starts with serving. Who the hell are you serving? Who is your business serving? And who are you serving personally? When I coach junior hockey and I work with kids 16 to 21, and I share my teachings in terms of, you know, being a good father, being a good man, manners and etiquette, time management, you know, entrepreneurship. When I share those things, I'm sharing legacy. I'm building a legacy. That's, good morning. That's the kind of stuff that outlives your human life. That's the kind of stuff that has an impact beyond yourself. When I'm coaching those little kids in power skating, and when I'm volunteering on my Sunday morning hockey, anytime we serve other people, it's just amazing. That's how you build your legacy. So when it comes to quality time left, you know, it's an easy number to get to. All you have to do is you know the math in terms of, okay, the average North American male lives to 78. And then you just take your age. So let's say you're 50 years old. And one of the things that you have to remember is you have to subtract around 30%, which is a generous number, for things like sleeping, things like eating, things like standing in lines, things like showering, brushing your teeth, whatever it is. And then all of a sudden that number is even smaller. And good morning. And then you get down to that, you subtract that from 78 years, you know, minus your age, minus 30%. And you get down to a number. And, you know, the guys that I work with, their Q.T.L number, some of them it's 8. Q.T.L number can be 18. Q.T.L number, depending on their age, can be 11. And that's a real cold, ice cold water splash in the face. It's a red poker in the eye. It's a true wake-up call for, you know what? Why am I here? Who am I serving? What is this all about? When you look at a number every day, 8 years or 10 years or 13 years or 18 years, that's the years left that a man has. Man, that changes your perspective. That changes your values. That changes your tolerance for people that will waste your time, abuse your energy. And I keep my Q.T.L number right in front of my desk in both of my home offices. I keep it in my journal. I look at it every single day. And God willing, I plan on, like you, living more than 78 years. But the reality is, for the first time in history, since the last 2.5, almost 3 years, men and women are not living longer. For the first time in history, think about that, since the start of the China virus, men and women are not living longer. Every year, you know, we were exceeding your great-grandparents, grandparents, everybody living longer with all the advancements in technology and medicine and health. Well, for the first time since the pandemic in 2020, we are living shorter lives. And it's not all just the restrictions and the lockdowns and the China virus. It has a lot to do with mental health. Our suicide rates in our our children, 12 to 18, are up 71%. Mental health issues across the board. We're living more and more of a sedentary lifestyle. We spend our life on our phones, on our screens, on our asses. We sit for, 16, 17 hours per day. So these are the things that are affecting longevity in men and women. So it's very important, that's why we're talking about moving. That's why we're always talking about nature. That's why I'm always talking, good morning. I'm always talking about fresh air and sunshine and road work, and talking about, not touching your phone, not taking your phone on date nights, and leaving your phone at home when you go to the whatever, a date night or your kid's ball game or whatever. We got to start doing the exact opposite of everybody around you, because everybody around you is now living shorter lives. So that 78 number is heading the wrong way. So really important that you do that math and get that number in front of you. Write it on one of those white index recipe cards. Put that up on your wall where you see it every day. Write it in your journal and get serious about your quality time left. Your quality time left. If you have 18 years of quality time left using this methodology, think about this. How do you want to spend those 18 years? Do you want to spend those 18 years playing offense, or do you want to spend those last 18 years playing defense? Father Time's undefeated. Okay, you can live longer than 78, but you ain't going to live forever, and neither am I. So Father Time is undefeated. So let's say that number is 11. How do you want to spend those last 11 years? Do you want to spend those last 11 years fearful and worried about who's in the White House, worried about the economy, scared at home, hiding under your bed, afraid of, burying yourself in the toxic news and the vomit politics? Or do you want to get out there and build the world of your dreams? This is why I see personal sovereignty as the #1 goal in life. Because of that number. Because of that number. Whatever my number is, and however long I'm gifted on this earth, I want to do what I want, when I want, with whom I want, at the price I want, on the terms I want. I want to live a life of freedom, independence, control, autonomy. I want to have fun, and I want to live a life of personal sovereignty to the highest degree I can because of Q.T.L, quality time left. I don't want to waste an ounce of my life. So you have to ask yourself that, whatever your number is. Stare at that number, think about that number, and look at all the time wasters, the time vampires, the energy vampires, all the poisons in your life, all the toxins in your life, and curate that shit out. turn your back, break up with it, cut the rope, swift sword it, and never speak of it again. Every minute, every second, every minute, every hour you spend on anti-social media, that's an hour, a minute, a day, weeks, months that you subtract from your Q.T.L, your quality time with your queen, with your children, with your grandchildren, serving other people. My God, you're not just killing time, you're killing your legacy. You're killing your significance. You're going to be your life is going to be forgettable because you spent your time on Twitter or Instagram or ESPN.com. All that stuff is an attack, whether it's mainstream news, whether it's vomit politics, whether it's television, whether it's your iPhone addiction. All that stuff is an attack on your quality time left. It's an attack on your marriage. It's an attack on your children. It's an attack on you as a man. It's an attack on your manhood. But it's an attack at the end of the day on your Q.T.L, your quality time left. If you only have 9 or 12 or 18 years of quality time left, do you want to spend them with tomato cans, punch-drunk people that don't want you to win, that don't believe in you? Or do you want to spend your quality time every day doing something that'll outlive your life? Tony Robbins said that best, is he said the greatest way that a man can spend his life, or woman, is spending it, investing it in things that will outlive it. Invest in things that will outlive you, that will build your legacy, that will build your significance, that people will say, man, my grandfather was a badass. My great-grandfather built this. This arena is named after my great-great-grandfather. That kind of stuff. Stories, legacy. And if not, we have a forgettable life. Quality time left. Do that math today. Take that 78 years, subtract, take your age, subtract your age from the 78, and then the really big wake-up part is subtract 30% for life's activities that we can't control, that we need to do, whether it's, you know, standing in line, whether it's showering, sleeping, whatever. And you're going to be left with a number that it's going to be an eye-opener for you. It's going to be a number where you're like, man, I need to wake up. I need to start prioritizing my time. I need to get around better people. I need to get my ass in the best shape of my life. I need to start reading great books. I need to start drinking more water. And you'll just have a different level of urgency. That's what Q.T.L has given to me. It's given me urgency. It's given me urgency. And like the late, great Jim Rohn said, is most people major in minor things. Most people major in minor things. That's all you see around you today from the 99% ordinary and average and mediocre. What are they doing? Their heads buried down in a cell phone. They're watching a video. They're texting one of their friends. You know, watching TV, playing games, anything and everything but the important. Everything and anything but the important. And they're not present. They're not mentally present. They're never, ever mentally present. And this leads to what I term manufactured mental illness, right? All of a sudden, depression sets in, anxiety sets in, worry, you know, all this stuff. And that's where disease comes from. Disease is all linked to stress. If you're anxious, if you're worried, if you're depressed, if you've got bad body language, you're never moving, you're never outside in nature, your brain never gets a break from this relentless technology, then people end up sick. And that's why for the first time in history, men and women are not living longer. That is a pathetic stat, by the way. And it's easily explained by the mainstream medical people. Well, the pandemic, a lot of people died from the China virus. Well, yes, they did. And a lot of people died from the common cold. But the bottom line is that's not what the data says. The data says it's coming from young people taking their own lives. It's coming from technology, what I call delayed consequences. We've now been on smartphones for 15 years. We've now been on the internet for 30 years. And all of a sudden, like cigarettes before us and alcohol, now it's only a matter of time until the warning labels are on these things. You know, don't let your child be on a smartphone. Don't give a smartphone to your toddler. Don't put your, warnings on screens and tablets. That stuff's coming in the next 5 to 10 years, just like it did for tobacco. When the damage is done and there's millions and millions and millions and millions of people that have suffered, then and only then will that stuff be brought through. Because big tech is big government's buddy, right? They borrow each other's sugar. Big tech, big politics. All those guys borrow each other's sugar. Same backyard, same bed. So whatever they say, make sure you take with a grain of salt and head the other way. That's it for today. Q.T.L. Quality time left. The great Wayne Huizenga. Always focus on the quality time left. Man, say no to the unimportant. Start saying no to everything that doesn't serve you. I'd love to do that, Jerry, but no. I'd love to, take that on, but no. Well, I'd love to do that in the mornings, but my mornings are when I do my deep work, so no. The mornings are my magic time, so no. Own your mornings, win your mornings. Get the 1 or 2 or 3 things you got to get done every day. Then conquer the chaos of the afternoon. That's normal. And then the evenings are for legacy building. You get home, you put that phone away, and you spend and invest time with the people that matter most to you. Whether that's your queen, your ride or die partner, your parents, your children, your grandchildren. And that's how to section your day. Win your morning, the first 3 to 5 hours. First hour of the day belongs to you. It doesn't belong to anybody else. Nobody touches that first hour of the day for you. Nobody touches that. No dentist, no doctor, no employee, no friend, no family member. The first hour of the day belongs to you to do the most important thing. The number one most important thing in your life gets done in the first hour. And then from there, more magic time and more deep work. And then conquer the chaos in the afternoon. That's when I return emails. That's when I return phone calls. That's when I do a little bit of service work or paperwork or deal with any issues. And then by 4 o'clock, man, it's family time. That's when I'm building my legacy. That's time with my daughter, and that's time with my wife, Krista. Win the mornings, conquer the chaos in the afternoon, and build a badass life of significance and your legacy in the in the evenings. So, Q.T.L. If you need help with any of this stuff, I'm at the pickleball courts. Krista started playing on Tuesdays and Thursdays, which I'm really happy about. I encouraged her to do that. I said, I'll drive Emery to school. I'll get up, I'll do my thing, but she's playing twice a week here and she's loving it. She's meeting new people. Man, encourage the people in your world to do things that they, I don't know if I should do it or what. I'm like, come on, Q.T.L, come on, do something new. Because she's an adventurous person. She doesn't really need any pushes when it comes to that. But, when it comes to a new sport, sometimes you do. She's like, I've never played pickleball before. And I'm like, get up there. So I set it up so that I take care of things on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Doesn't affect my morning at all. And just a few slight adjustments, and she gets to play pickleball and she's loving it. She'll be up here this morning at 8 o'clock. And again on Thursday, she's loving it. She's a social person. She's an extrovert. She's not an alpha introvert like me. So very important that she gets that time. So Q.T.L, Q.T.L. If you need any help with any of this stuff, you can buy the links below this video for my book, How to Not Get Your Ass Kicked in Business and in Life. My monthly newsletter. I'll send you one of these black hashtag badass t-shirts, go to badassleather.com. And if you want to step up into the big leagues and be joined at the hip and get personal coaching with me for 1 full year, join or apply at our World Builders. That's badassworldbuilders.com. All those links are below. That's it. Q.T.L. Q.T.L. We all have a finish line. We all have a number we need to stare at every day. How do you want to live the rest of your life? On your own terms or on somebody else's terms? Do you want to spend the remaining years you have as a badass or a bootlicker? Do you want to be a king, or do you want to be a poodle? Do you want to be a contender or a pretender? Do you want to be a leader or an excuse maker and do nothing? So these are the decisions we make every single day. Claim that personal sovereignty and make those Q.T.L. years matter. Build a life of not just success, but significance and a legacy that outlives your human life. 2 words that change my life, 2 words that'll change yours. Be relentless.